like it. The brothers, it said, y'all heard me read it. They already hated him because Daddy loved him. He was the son of the old age, and he loved his mother. So the brothers hated him. Now that's something, ain't it? To come up in a house. These are my blood sisters and brothers, but they don't like me. I'm the youngest, but they don't like me. But the thing was, favoritism was shown because he made him a coat of many colors. Now you look at it, now I only birthed one. So now I can do whatever I want to do with her. I didn't birth but one. I could spoil her as much as I wanted to. I loved her. I tell you, I loved her with all my heart. And I still do. God is mine. But when you have multiple children, you've got to show the same love to every last one of them. Now, you can't treat them all the same because they have different attitudes. And you have to learn the attitude of each one of them children. And how I know this to say, I had 9 siblings. It's 10 of us. We all was in the house together, but we all had different attitudes. We all had different ways. So Madia, we call Mama Madia. Madia couldn't treat all us the same way because she had to look at all of us were different. We all had different names. So Joseph had a dream. Joseph told the dream to them, and it says they hated him the more. And that's something. When the daddy heard the dream, he was, he got a little, and he was like, we gonna bow down to you. But what they didn't know was there was something coming. And all this was gonna be set into play. Joseph did not know he was gonna have to suffer the way he suffered. He told a dream. He didn't know the will and the plan that God had for him. Just like we don't. We don't know the plan that God has for us. We don't fully know the will of God yet, but we know it's God's will that we all be saved. But God has a specific purpose for every one of our lives. My life is not taking me on the path as Sister Sonia. But I can't say she ain't saved. I'm just using you for an example now. I can't say she ain't saved because she on the path she on. All of us are different. So Joseph suffered. Joseph's brothers put him in the pit, sold him. Now ain't that something? Now it's something when your brothers, they stand around plotting up trying to see how they can get rid of him. Now they didn't kill him. They just wanted to get rid of him. But thank God for Jesus. God had a plan for him. From the pit to the palace. Ain't that all right? But he went through to get there. Then I read about Mother Shunammite, the woman of hospitality, for the man of God. You know it's good when you see God in the man. That's what we follow, the God in the man. And she perceived and said that he was a man of God. So she asked her husband. She didn't just take upon herself to do this. She asked her husband, I perceive he's a man of God. Can we prepare a little chamber for him? He gave her permission that she could. So it's good when you take care of the man of God, when you do for the man of God, because the more you do for the people of God, the more God going to do for you. Then I came on and read about Simon, Peter. And Jesus was talking to him. And we know that this was his first showing to his disciples after the crucifixion. And Jesus began, after he dined with them, Jesus began to talk to Peter. So when they had dined, Jesus said unto Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He said unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, feed my lamb. Now, this is my subject. Today is our annual Women's Day. We will have a 4 o'clock service. Our supervisor will be our speaker, Mother Emma Rose Sanders. She's going to be our speaker. Our theme is unfinished business. Prioritizing God's business. But my subject is will you die for me? Will you? So let me tell you how that came about. Some years ago, God dealt with me. And I'm a dreamer. That's why I'm always in trouble. I'm a dreamer. And there was a pastor, I don't know if a lot of y'all remember Pastor Coleman, John Coleman. He told me this some years ago. He came to me and he told me, he said, you're going to have a whole lot of trouble. He said, God going to use you, but you're going to have a whole lot of trouble. You're going to be hated. People going to talk about you, and they're going to just about put you out. He said, because you're a dreamer. Now, I hadn't told him I had dreams, but he looked at me. He said, you're a dreamer. He said, the Lord been dealing with you since you was young, right? I said, yes, sir. So anyway, some years ago, we were in Mississippi. My husband had moved us there to help take care of my mom. And the Lord dealt with me and took me off on a journey. And he began to show me his house as a whole. I was on a journey every single night. And every single night the Lord asked me, will you die? Will you die for me? Everything the Lord was showing me that was going on in his house. And it wasn't good, Sister Sonia. The things that God was showing me, the people in God's house, the things that was going on. And they were naming his name. But he kept asking me, will you die for me? And I kept saying, I will, Lord. I said, I've died all I know how to the things of this world. But he asked me again a whole week straight. He kept taking me off. Will you die for me? That's why I went to Peter here when he was asking him, will you die for me? Lovest thou me? Will you die for me? Will you do my will? Will you take care of my sheep? Will you take care of my lamb? Will you do the work for me? God, Jesus already knew what he had prepared them to do, but they didn't know what they was about to do. They didn't know the trouble that they were going to have to go through. They didn't know the suffering that they were going to have to go through. But will you feed my lamb? Will you feed my sheep? And he kept asking me, will you die for me? And like Peter, on that third time, he said, you know, Lord, you know I love you. And I do your will. I do what you want me to do. But he still didn't know the extent of what he was going to have to go through, what he was going to have to deal with. So all week long, he was asking me, will you die for me? And I kept saying, I'll die for you, Lord. I've died all I know how. I said, Lord, if it's something here in me that I don't know about, I said, Lord, show me so I can get it right. Because he kept asking me, will you die for me? But I thought I had died from everything. And we were going to the jail ministering every Saturday. And I had went off, he had took me off all week long. And I said, I can't go this Saturday. I told my husband, I said, I don't believe I'm going to be able to go. I said, I'm sick. Because of what the Lord had been showing me, I said, I'm sick. And I don't think I'm going to be able to go. And I stayed back there and I kept praying and I kept praying. And so the Lord began to talk to me and let me know, go to the jail. Well, I thought I wasn't going to be able to help them over there because I brought the lesson. And I said, I'm not going to be able to bring the lesson. I said, Lord, I'm just sick. But when I walked in that jail, I walked out of me, and the Spirit took over. And the Lord began to work in that jail. The Lord saved that day. I had the women. Usually I would teach the women, and my sister would teach the men. And my sister told me, she said, go on with the men. And the men was coming in, and they were looking. And I was wondering, I said, what's wrong with them? I looked at my clothes.